All right, let me cut across to our big story here. The bridge collapse in Gujarat that has unfortunately killed 12 people. At least 12 people have died, including a child, after a portion of the Gambhira bridge collapsed this morning in Gujarat's Vadodara district. Vehicles and trucks, including bikes, a pickup van, even a car that plunged into the Mahisagar river as that 40-year-old bridge gave way so quickly. In seconds after it shook, it fell apart. It was a busy hour, in fact. People were on their way either to work, deliveries, whatever it was. Even a child died, so I'm assuming one was going to school as well. And then instantly, cars were seen and vehicles were seen plunging into that river. Screams and chaos, metal coming crashing down. Lives were lost in an instant. This bridge was built in 1985. For years, locals said that it shook dangerously whenever heavy vehicles crossed that very path. In fact, complaints were filed, warnings were raised, a new bridge was even sanctioned, but as we see here, the old one, or rather this very one that collapsed, was allowed to function. It was open for vehicles to ply, while the same government had already noticed that this was unfit for use. This collapse wasn't sudden, it was inevitable in fact. It was a disaster everyone saw coming, and yet no one acted. Fishermen nearby, we hear, were the first responders. They rushed their boats, they heard a big thud, and to turn around to see vehicles plunging into the river. They rushed their boats to try and rescue them, but according to the fishermen, they say hardly anyone survived. Whoever fell into the water with their vehicles died. And this is not one-off. This is a pattern that we are seeing in Gujarat. Just last year, the Palanpur bridge collapse killed 3 people in Gujarat. In fact, the Palanpur bridge that happened in 2023, there you have it, visuals of the Palanpur bridge, 2023 October. It killed 3 people. The contractor had been blacklisted in 2016 and 2017, but yet that same contractor came back to carry out this work for this very bridge in 2023, and as expected, it collapsed. They were still allowed to function. That was a big question. Why? Now, before that, the Morbi bridge. In October 2022, the Morbi bridge that collapsed, 140 people died of it, 180 were injured. In fact, the heritage structure, the Morbi bridge, it had rusted cables. It was, we hear, a bridge that again had work that had been done on it very recently, but still, despite all those flooring work that had actually happened on that bridge, it acted as if extra weight was added onto that bridge, not done scientifically. Therefore, it came crashing down, basically exposing how unscientific structures have come up, putting public life in danger. How many more lives to be lost before these people really learn a lesson? Now, in this latest tragedy, the government had already identified the bridge as risky, and MLA had also recommended a new structure be built. Survey work had also begun. Then the big question is, why wasn't that old bridge closed down? What's the point of planning a new bridge in the first place if the old death trap is still open to public? Here you have images there showing you of how vehicles had plunged into water. In fact, the state government has announced 4 lakh rupees in compensation, 50,000 to those people who have been injured. Prime Minister Modi, of course, giving out his condolences to those deceased, has announced 2 lakhs from the centre as compensation and 50,000 to those injured. But is compensation really enough? Has apathy here been normalized? We're looking at the Gujarat model now being exposed, sadly, at the cost of people's lives. This is no accident. This is sheer poor maintenance. No audits were done, substandard material probably used, which is now giving way 40 years later. But anyway, audits are supposed to be done, timely checks are supposed to be carried out. In fact, contractors who carry out shoddy work need to be blacklisted. They can't be invited back again to carry out another construction. Visible cracks we hear on this very Gambhira bridge were highlighted, but yet there was not much that was done to stop traffic flow. They noticed that yes, there were cracks on it. The officials did notice cracks on it. They even promised that a new bridge will be built, but they did not block off traffic from actually plying through that very bridge. And today we see, very sad, 12 people have died, including a child. Now, let me bring in our panelists here. Joining me are Ajay Umat, Group Editor, Ahmedabad Mirror. Thank you very much, sir. We have H.S. Sancheti, former Chief Town Planner, Government of Rajasthan. As of course, people here demanding answers, I would like to bring in our town planner who's been very integral in building and approving structures of this kind. H.S. Sancheti, could you tell us what really went wrong here? The Gambhira bridge in Gujarat's Vadodara was shaky from the start. It's been years now that locals have alerted the officials that there are cracks there, but yet vehicles were allowed to ply.
This is very sad that this bridge is collapsed. It was constructed in 1985. 40 years have passed. Now it is collapsed due to the negligence of the concerned agencies, or we can say the state. Regular checking, regular inspection is very necessary. What kind of structure was there? Regular, if it is not regularly checked, that it may fall at any time. I don't think there was any pressure of the vehicles and the people's movement. Still, it is fell down. It means there was a very, very technical fault of this bridge, and it should have been vehicles should have been stopped here, and government, very beginning government or the concerned agency should have declared it is not a functional bridge. Uh, Secondly, the state government has, I think, sanctioned another bridge, and they have sanctioned the 200 crores rupees. So this is, I think, this is the fault of the government and the concerned agency. Whenever we talk about the planning of the new bridge, means type of bridge, what kind of river flow, river capacity, river span, and design, structural design, and its foundation. So all activities should be priorly examined before we construct any new bridge. Special planning and techniques are required. Hydrological study of that particular river and the particular environs should also be done regularly. Geotechnical inspection is also essential. Means the soil, rock, bearing capacity of that concerned soil and the rocks is also very essential. So these are the basic facts of the when we construct any bridge, we have to follow these. This is the process. Now the environment impact should also be seen. What kind of environment will have an impact on constructing this bridge? That is also very important. Now, once we construct the bridge, then
just a moment, sir. Before you continue, I'd like to ask a very pertinent question here, which I still feel has no answers to. Ajay Umat, if you could tell us, if this very bridge was already declared structurally unsafe, why was it not decommissioned immediately in your view? Who had the authority in the first place here to in fact, carry out traffic flow on this bridge while they had already sanctioned a new bridge, knowing very well there were cracks?
Look, in 2020-21, there was a heavy flood in Mahisagar river, and after that flood was over, members of Congress party and all opposition party members, they raised this issue in assembly. This I am talking to you 2020 and 2021. In 2022, a rigorous inspection was done about this bridge, and it was said that the structure is not safe, and they said that we need to do periodical checking of this bridge. As Mr. Sancheti was saying, in Gujarat there is a template which says that pre-monsoon and post-monsoon checkup of all the bridges should be done. It was not done in this case, and after rigorous inspection, it was found that maintenance, design, wear and tear, and the load bearing capacity of this bridge and strength of the bridge was only at the level of 20 to 25%. Another problem was that, after another road network has joined this bridge, that was the reason that, from Saurashtra region of Gujarat, if you want to go from Saurashtra to South Gujarat via that road to Mumbai, this was the shortest route, and this was a route where, you need to pay very, very less toll. If you go to express highway, if you go to national highway, you have to pay toll tax at 4 places, whereas, all the truck owners who were plying their trucks from Kandla port, from Mundra port, from Jamnagar refineries, they were taking this route because there was no traffic jam on this road. So this, after rigorous inspection, agency has suggested that, heavy vehicles, particularly multi bearing vehicles, tankers, big trucks should not be allowed, and a barrier should be kept on that bridge so that, only light motor vehicles can fly over that bridge, because they have raised this issue that this should not be allowed. In March 2025, this year, during budget session, so many MLAs have raised issue, and government has said that at the cost of 213 crore, we will have new bridge adjoining to this place. But at the time also concerns were raised that, this bridge should not be allowed. Now today collector Baroda has declared nearby 3 bridges as dangerous bridges, and they said that no big vehicle can fly over that bridge. That means
Declared it today.
on part of collector today only. So it was a negligence on part of collector office, on the part of road and building office, and also secretariat Gandhinagar should be blamed that only action was inaction, when you know that, there was no traffic census done, despite agency has suggested that you should do traffic census, and this multi-axle vehicle should not be allowed. This tanker which you are showing, in a very delicately, precariously positioned. Look at this bridge. Look at this tanker.
Yeah.
In your video footage, it shows, that it is a 24-wheel multi-axle vehicle. Now this bridge was not designed to have such kind of heavy vehicle.
Absolutely.
Carrying capacity should not be more than 15 to 20 tons. So it was wrong ab initio.
Sir, I'd like to ask you, looking at the number of instances, Morbi, Palanpur, if we could show our visuals on the screens there of the 2 episodes there that have happened, multiple bridge collapses. In fact, we're looking at Araria, a bridge collapse that happened in, okay, these are visuals that we're showing from all across India, but speaking specifically of Gujarat, that's Palanpur, there you have it, where in 2023, a bridge collapsed with the same contractors who were banned in 2016. They were brought back to construct this bridge. I'd like to ask you here, is Gujarat at this point facing a systematic collapse when it comes to infrastructure governance?
This is nothing but corruption. There is a nexus of corruption between bureaucrats, between contractors and political leaders. Otherwise, this should not have happened. In Ahmedabad, I can give you an example. In our Ahmedabad city, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation Limit, they found a Hatkeswar bridge, and that bridge was constructed before 5 years, and they found that, the strength of that bridge, IIT Kharagpur has given a report that, the material that has used is substandard. So people of Ahmedabad, they came on road, and, that bridge was declared not to be used. Now this kind of action was not taken in case of this bridge. Everybody knew since last 3 years that this bridge can collapse at any point of time. I can send you a video where, district panchayat member is talking to an executive engineer, and an executive engineer is confirming, okay, yes boss, I know that, this bridge can collapse any day. And if you see the structure, it is a finger type structure, having a single pillar. So single pillar type structure does not have carrying capacity of more than 20 tons. It was designed before 40 years to connect 2 small towns. It was not meant for this multi-axle vehicles. So everybody knew that this kind of accident, this kind of episode would happen any day, but nobody took it seriously. So I think it is a case of criminal irresponsible behavior, negligence, and it's a culpable homicide amounting to murder.
Sancheti, sir, Mr. Sancheti, if your take on when you speak of structural audits, one says very loosely that the officials should carry out audits every now and then should check these public spaces like these flyovers, bridges, to ensure that they're safe for people to ply. That Morbi bridge collapse is really still giving me the shivers. 140 people died. We are playing that visuals on our screens there. There were nearly 500 people on that bridge at that point. And the worst is that they had renovated that bridge recently, where they put tiles over that bridge to ensure it's smoother for people to stand on, without realizing that it added to the weight of that bridge. So it's unscientific, not thought of clearly, carrying out these shoddy works. We hear even the cables were loose of that Morbi bridge. So ideally, audits should be done periodically. In your sense and view, what is the process of a structural audit?
In fact, you said a right thing, that periodical inspection is very important. Whenever we create a infrastructure in any town or in any city, it has to be regularly monitored. First of all, the planning and design of the particular bridge should be properly examined. Location of the bridge, right of way of the river, then it should have a earthquake resistance power, flood resistance power, then velocity of the water, then structural aspects, foundation, and regular inspection of the engineers. Engineers who should be the certified engineer, so that he knew about the techniques and technology and the structural aspects of that particular bridge. So registered engineer should inspect regularly the site of the bridge, and this should be the mandate of the concerned body. Just because of this, it was not regularly inspected, and that is the reason that this bridge is collapsed. So this procedure should be followed. Regular monitoring is very important.
When you speak of criminal liability, sir, who is criminally liable? You know, our journalist on the panel does say that this is homicide. I'd like to ask you, who is liable with regards to this case? In a situation like this, can bureaucratic negligence be allowed,
I would say,
in this sense? And if it has, can they be pulled up?
Just because of the concerned authority, whether it is a public works department or the collector or the bureaucrats or the politician. This is fact that this was done because of their negligence. So they are the responsible, and directly we cannot say about the state government that they are responsible, but the concerned agency definitely is responsible.
Directly, you can't say state government is responsible. That's what you say. But I would definitely say the state government has to be held responsible here equally. But, sir, if you could give us your sense on how and why the government also here is involved in clearing these projects. Who gives these clearances? Ajay Umat?
Look, as you have rightly observed in your opening comments, we did not learn any lessons from Morbi nor from Taxasila episode, where so many children, students died in Surat city. Nor we learned any lessons from Palanpur or from Harni episode, where more than 12 school children they drowned in a river, simply doing boating school trip. So the point is that government should find out somebody, and top bureaucrat or top person who is at the helm of affairs should be held responsible, because once you had a report which says that this bridge is not safe for use, or only light motor vehicles should be allowed on this bridge, and government has taken a decision that we will have a parallel new bridge. That means why you are constructing a new bridge parallel to this bridge, because that this bridge is structurally not safe to be used. In that case, at least they could have put barriers so that this kind of big vehicles, multi-axle vehicles would not have applied, and so many lives could have been saved. I think that government of the day is responsible for this. Ultimately, buck stops at their table. Simply you are suspending a executive engineer or a junior engineer does not serve the purpose. There is a moral liability should be owned by somebody.
You know, and if the fishermen, the locals, the people residing in that area, just about everyone, people who are driving past that bridge are all saying that we knew this was a disaster in the making. I'm shocked to understand that the officials who knew very well that this was a situation still allowed vehicles to ply. That just shows no value for life, Ajay.
Bilkul, 100% I agree with you. What kind of business Collector Vadodara is doing? Why he did not issue notification that day? Today he is issuing notification for three other bridges that these three bridges should not be used. Then why he has not issued orders on that particular day when so many MLAs have written this letter? The recently, in plane crash, our ex-chief minister Vijay Rupani died. An MLA from that area told him that I am a Congress MLA. If you want, I am ready to resign from my post as MLA, but please do something for this bridge. This bridge may collapse any day. And we see the way, the total complete slab between two piers, how it has collapsed in the river. And mind you, before 3 months, this road and building department has got it repaired. What kind of repairment work they have done? This
Right.
shows that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Correct. And it seems like this disease is all over the country. Corruption is just rampant everywhere. And I'm showing you visuals of bridge collapses that have happened in just the last year. Nearly 15 collapses that have happened. Pune bridge collapse, you see there. In 2025, what it looks like. I'm basically just going through those visuals there. In 2025, the Harang bridge collapse, Indrayani river bridge collapse in Maharashtra in 2025, again 25, Maharajganj bridge collapse. The number of episodes that have come to light in just the last year has really left us thoroughly shocked. And we're at this point wondering, what should change with immediate effect. Sancheti, I'll take your word on that as a town planner. What should change with immediate effect? The making of it, corruption, well, I understand that has to be nipped in the bud, but is there any other guideline that these contractors and government equally should come together to follow? Of course, consequences isn't there. When collapses like this happen, nobody takes accountability, there's nobody arrested. You hardly have any repercussion except for ex gratia amount given as compensation. Nothing really moves.
You are very much right that the bureaucrats, the concerned agency, the contractor and the state government, they are jointly responsible because regularly these bridges are collapsed in Gujarat. It means there is a big fault in either in construction or either in design or either in planning, either in execution, either in monitoring. So all the aspects which have been neglected by the concerned bureaucrats and authorities. It was the responsibility of the state government. They should have issued a specific notification for closing these unsafe bridges, but they have not also taken any interest in doing these things. So this was the fault of the...
Do you believe that India needs one independent national body for infrastructure safety oversight, one universal body who is responsible for the entire country's public infrastructure?
Yeah. One body, either
I am actually showing visuals of a Bhopal bridge, a 90-degree bridge. Ajay, if you're seeing that, it was, all over news platforms. A 90-degree bridge, without even thinking, the contractors have actually got their blueprints cleared by the officers. Bureaucrats have cleared this design. And they've built it also.
Yeah. 90-degree bridge, even in the roads, in the regular roads, we don't give any 90-degree because of the traffic problem. So
sir, I'm appalled. I'm really appalled. We're a country of engineers. We send the best of engineers abroad. What are we doing here?
Yeah, it is a total fault of the engineers or the designers or the planners. I don't think this should have not been happen in Bhopal. This is the fault of the technical engineers. We can say that they are technical persons.
Yeah, I just hang my head in shame because I really wonder if any responsibility will be pinned here. We hear 7 engineers who built this 90-degree bridge in Bhopal have been suspended. But what? taxpayers' money down the drain. Thousands of crores spent on this very bridge to build it. And then you realize through an aerial view, a video that exposed the design, and then you realize that it's a faulty one.
Yeah, you are right.
It's come to this extent.
If we see the example of the London, they spent more time on planning and designing for any kind of infrastructure project, for any kind of building projects. So they take full time for planning, full time for designing. If it is faulty, they will not construct any building or create any kind of infrastructure, which I have seen personally in London. But here in India, the engineers and the bureaucrats, they are totally neglecting these important facts.
This is not neglect, sir. This is criminal. Ajay, last word from you.
Yes, you can say this is the criminal offense.
Criminal.
So,
if you construct any bridge, any road, periodically, there is a third party inspection. If you construct a bridge, road and building department gives contract, and then there is a third party inspection, and then there is a government regulatory body, engineering, Indian Road Building, Indian Road Congress, Indian Bridge Congress. They do this kind of monitoring. That means to save somebody's land going into that cut business, they must have given this 90-degree angle. Otherwise, no engineer worth his salt will do this kind of shady job. That means that somebody from top must have told him. The point I am making is that, in one case, if you fix responsibility and heads would roll, then, something...
it sets an example, but not I can't think of a single case where public infrastructure has come down crashing, and the lower ranks to the higher ups have been pulled up for it.
Exactly.
Not a single case.
No punitive action. Otherwise, if you fix responsibility and it should be the strictest punishment, then nobody would dare to allow such kind of shady job.
Thank you very much, Ajay and Mr. Sancheti, for joining us on this very important issue.